Hello and welcome to Vulturelux. I have some exciting news for console players of 7 Days to Die, updates about the future and when you can expect to see them. The Fun Pimps seem to be planning a release for what looks like a completely new build of 7 Days to Die for current gen consoles, presumably ported directly from the PC version of the game, and it may be released as soon as this year, 2023. It's been a long time coming, but the wait may finally be over for console fans. The story began way back in 2016 when the Fun Pimps extended a console-exclusive license for what was then the Alpha 14 version of the game to publisher Telltale Games. Work began on porting the game over to PS4 and Xbox One consoles under Telltale by a development and porting company called Iron Galaxy. During this period of licensing for console, Iron Galaxy did manage to release a few updates over the course of a few years, bringing features from Alpha 15 and 16 to console, as well as a slew of bug fixes and stabilisations. However, development would soon grind to a halt as Telltale Games Publishing began to run into serious financial trouble, resulting in many of their contracts and projects being cancelled. Telltale had built their business off the success of The Walking Dead, expanding their reach into increasingly more expensive intellectual properties like Batman and Game of Thrones, and the price of licensing these properties would soon come back to bite them. Coupling the cost of premium intellectual properties, expensive overheads related to their geographical location, rapid expansion of their workforce, the writing was on the wall for Telltale, who could not compete with other publishers who owned and produced their own intellectual properties, and in 2018 it was announced by Pete Hind, the then CEO, a majority studio closure was imminent. Telltale began to auction off licenses and agreements in an attempt to soften the blow, one of which was 7 Days to Die. In the subsequent 4 years, it seems the Fun Pimps were wrestling both financially and legally over the possibility of regaining their ownership of the intellectual property rights to 7 Days on console, and finally regained control in 2019. However, this fight had incurred significant costs. Roughly 2 years later, the Fun Pimps announced they would be, in fact, relaunching their own version of 7 Days to Die for the next generation of console, as the code itself for the previous version was still somewhat the property of Telltale Publishing and Iron Galaxy, and it was preferable to have a product more closely aligned with their flagship PC build, and ideally when that build was considered a finished product. Console players were understandably irritated that the $30 product they had received even up to 2022 was subpar and significantly lagged behind the development of the PC build, and often at a third of the price, and they had no problem letting the Fun Pimps know that was the case. Around the same period as the announcement for a new console build beginning development, the Fun Pimps also partnered with Microsoft and Xbox to release 7 Days to Die on Xbox Game Pass and Game Pass Ultimate, which did offer Ultimate users the chance to play the main build of the game, and expectedly disappointed console players with the Alpha 16 version for Game Pass. However, this move was most likely essential in funding and facilitating the work beginning on a new, Fun Pimps owned and controlled console port that they could carefully maintain themselves. Fast forward to the present day, and not much has yet been disclosed about the status of the new console build, but some exciting information has slipped through about its status and when we can expect to see it rise from the dead once again. Very recently, the Fun Pimps posted a tweet showing off some of the reported 200 new POIs coming to the PC build of the game, including a new Tier 4 army base. On Twitter, one user replied to this tweet asking, "Console edition when?" And lo and behold, 7 Days replied, "We are targeting this year." This is undeniably exciting news for console players, as the wait has been long and the relationship between the Fun Pimps and their console audience has become tense and at some times hostile. It's a good sign that Fun Pimps not only have targeted release date in mind, but also the confidence to share it with their audience, being aware of the fallout that could ensue should they fail to meet it. It wouldn't be wise to throw out release dates they are unlikely to achieve, and even the language of this tweet is somewhat reassuring. They don't hope to release this year, they are targeting this year, which definitely conveys a strong motivation and commitment to getting a new console build out as soon as possible. But what does this mean for console players who have already purchased the Alpha 16 build at $30, even as recently as this year on PS4 and Xbox One? Will they get a free upgrade or some kind of loyalty discount? In a forum post on the official 7 Days to Die message boards, a moderator did address this issue back in November of 2022, saying, "Rick says he would like to do a discount program for previous owners of the original console version, but it will depend on Sony and Microsoft store policies and is something that will involve a lot of stakeholders, so no promises as to whether that will happen." However, I personally feel this is unlikely given the costs incurred with clawing back the rights to console publishing and the existing partnership with Xbox Game Pass, assuming the latest console edition takes the place of Iron Galaxy's previous port on the service. For now, only time will tell, but I'll be sure to keep you updated on all the latest news and updates regarding 7 Days to Die, coming to consoles in 2023, hopefully. Until next time, goodbye.